the council persons and the mayor and the city manager and the other leaders, Lord God. Give them vision, give them insight that this place called Riviera Beach, Lord God, will be not just reimagined, but it will be a place that beckons people to come forth because of the love that's here, the care that's here, the gratitude that's here, and just a place where people can truly live and be all that they can be. So, Father, we just thank you. Be with this day. Open up the minds, open up the hearts, that when something is said, that they will have a gold nugget, that aha moment, that they could walk out here re-energized and ready to take on the next task. That we know we're going through some difficult times right now, but we ask that you smooth the road and make those times easier for those in this city, Lord God. That this be a place, not just in South Florida, not just in Florida, but throughout the United States and world, that people will say, there is something happening there in Riviera Beach. There is something great. There is something magical. There's something that has happened. And it's because truly you're right here. Truly you're shining here. We thank you. In your name we pray, the name above all names, the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. So, again, we're excited to be here at Reimagine Riviera Beach University, but certainly we can't do this without each and every one of you here in the room. Last night we had our awards ceremony, and for those of you that were in attendance, you know that one of the things that we did for those that showed up that had at least 5 years of service, you got a personal option day. So those employees that showed up got a personal option day. And it's unfortunate that we didn't have all our employees show up at our service awards, because it's important that we recognize those that are committed to the agency, those that have served the agency. And so I will be providing additional personal option days for those that are actively involved and engaged in the sessions today. But it's not a guarantee. You've got to earn them. So you have to be involved. One of the things that we saw yesterday as we got later on into the afternoon, some persons got tired and they weren't participating. We're making the investment in you so you can continue to provide the exceptional services that are provided here in this community. But one of the things that I think is important about Reimagine Riviera Beach University is the you, right? It doesn't stand for a university per se. It stands for you as the employee. We can't do anything as an employer, as a city, if we're not all locked in, if we're not all on the same page. I can tell you, I probably did this presentation when I constructed it maybe 8 or 9 times. I was going to give you the quintessential city manager presentation, right? The budget, what we do, how well we're doing, all those other things, right? Goals and objectives. But I said, you know what? The most impressive and most valuable resource we have are our employees. And so I'm going to show you just one slide about the exceptional services we provide, but then we're going to get into how you can be part of what we're going to do in the next couple of years. So the first slide, Walt, next slide, please. So the first slide speaks about a couple of the things that I think are germane to who we are as an agency, right? 1922, you all know that we're getting ready to turn 100 years old on September 29th. We have 38,000 residents, 17,000 households. We treat 8.5 million gallons of water per day. We've got 23,000 people that have library cards, and if you do have an overdue book, we will be making sure that we have a conversation with you at the end of the conference. Police, and I know there's fire in the room, but when I got the numbers as to the amount of calls, I was like, man, there's going to be a problem here. Police responds to over 100,000 calls for service on an annual basis. But fire has 15,000 calls, but fire has also told me that if you look at the calls per capita, we are busier than West Palm and other communities. So they did find a way to level the playing field. But nonetheless, we love our first responders, but they are doing a great job. We have 84 miles of municipal roadway. So the Public Works team and staff has a big task and big responsibility. We have 12 public parks. We have 2.4 miles of pristine beach. We have $47,000, and let's take this into context, right? The median household income in Riviera Beach is $47,000. Palm Beach County, it's close to $70,000. The average Riviera Beach employee makes $67,000 a year. That's not including overtime. When you incorporate overtime in there, the average is about $71,000. We're a full-service city. We have 542 FTEs. So to put that in perspective, if 10% of our workforce has a bad day, that's over 50 people that have a bad day. We're a $226 million municipal corporation. That's a big business. But corporations are only as successful as their employees. So all these facts and all these figures and all this information, it's really irrelevant and immaterial if you as an employee are not uplifted and provided the tools to be successful. Next slide. Got it? Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure is that your phone is on silent. One of the things I wanted to make sure is that you all know that we are acutely focused on excellence. We want our team to be absolutely excellent in everything that we do. But we know that mistakes happen, right? We know that there's circumstances and situations where we can't be perfect. But if you go out there to prepare and equip yourself to be excellent every day, day in and day out, invariably we'll get there. But we have to be focused on being the absolute best. Nobody gets up in the morning and says, you know, today I feel like being a mediocre city manager or a mediocre firefighter or police officer. When you get up and you choose to leave your home, because remember, nobody forces you to work here or work for us. You're making that choice with the one commodity you can't get back, your time. Doesn't matter where you went to school, doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter where you can never get that time back, but you chose to spend it with us for 8, 10, 12, 16, and in some cases, 24 hours. So let's get up every morning and make sure that we bring our absolute best, because we should be focused on being excellent. Because the more we focus on being excellent in everything that we do, the more we start building that brand and rebuilding that brand. And you'll hear later on today from the speaker about how important the brand is as we move forward as a community. So, what is this word? All right, impossible. What does this word mean, right? Can't be done, right? Can't accomplish it. But if you look at things from a different perspective and a different prism, you'll find out that this very word in and of itself tells you that it's possible. The same word looked at from a different prism and a different perspective says that it is possible. But you have to believe it. You have to own it. We can't do the things that we do without folks that see it from that perspective. We have ordinary people, right, that work in this agency that do extraordinary things on a daily basis, that make impossible feats possible. So when you're in a situation or a circumstance that's challenging and you say you can't do it or it's impossible, I can't subscribe to that, because I've just shown you proof that any and everything is possible. It's in the very word. But what are you going to do different than you did the day before to make that a reality? The task and the responsibility is on you. How can we work amongst other departments and other colleagues to make sure that their success is our success is their success. We've got to get to that point. But we can't see this word as impossible. We have to see it as impossible. This is probably one of my favorite quotes. A ship is safe in the harbor, but that's not what they're for. A ship is intended to set sail. A ship is intended to leave and go on journeys and voyages, not to sit at a marina. We know that there's treacherous roads that lie ahead. We know that there's challenging waters, but we are built for this. One of the things I'll tell you about a Riviera Beach employee is the most resilient employee that I have ever seen in my professional career. A Riviera Beach employee cares more about their city than another community's employees. Riviera Beach strong and Riviera Beach tough is a different type of toughness. Because you know why? We care about what we do and who we do it with. I'll tell you one of the things that I tell the department directors, and they'll tell you this all the time. How do I know if you're a good department director? I'll tell you how I know. If this job has made you cry, laugh, scream, lose hair, or get prescribed prescription medication, you are a good department director. Because it hurts when we don't do good. And when we do great, you can wear it on your face. We want to make sure that we have people that have that it factor, right? We want to make sure you want to be led by people that have that dog inside of them. You want people to commit and care as much as you do. And so that's the kind of leaders that we want to see in this agency, and that's the kind of leaders that can go ahead and take that ship far beyond what the potential could be. But you know, one of the things that's important, right? I would rather be part of the crew than the cargo. Because what happens when a ship goes out to sea and it gets bad? What do they do with the cargo? Toss it. But the crew, at least most of them, stay on. But one of the things I want to task you guys with is each and every one of you are involved in some type of situation where there's employees that you help bring on board. You're in an interview panel. I want to task you with the responsibility, if we entrust you with being on an interview panel, that you're honest with yourself, but you're honest with who can be part of the crew. We don't want to carry no more cargo. We want crew members. We want people that are committed and locked into what we're trying to accomplish here. So if you look them in the eyes, and if you ask a question and you say, so tell us something unique about yourself. Well, you know, I wear size 12 shoes. We ain't ready. Not now. If you ask them, and HR's in the room, so I can't say, if they're on prescription medication for dealing with stress, hey, we're on the start now. All right? We're going somewhere. But make sure that we bring people on that want to be part of the crew, not the cargo. We're trying to do some great things here, folks. You can never cross the ocean until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Let that marinate. You can't cross the ocean. You cannot accomplish the feats unless you have the ability to step out there, right? To have faith, to go places and do things that there may not be a playbook. I think all of us will say that when we got into our job and you say, hey, where's the SOP? Where's the manual? Where's the rules? Well, you know, oh, we lost it in the hack. Or, you know what, somebody was here for 40 years and they knew it all and there's nothing. So it requires you as an employee to take some risks, to figure it out. But you can't continue to operate in just your silo or think that the position that you're in today is where you're going to be tomorrow. I want employees that are certainly locked in and interested in their job, but I want employees that are also locked in and interested in my job. Because iron sharpens iron, and man sharpens man. And one of the first people that ever quoted that to me is in this room. And I'll never forget it. We were at the old Public Works building. And I was like, this guy's got it. And make sure that when you have that team, that they're making you better. That they're focused and they're locked in. You know? You want to make sure that when you're in this employment relationship, that is mutually beneficial. We've all had relationships where you're like, oh my gosh, I always got to pick up the tab. You know, or I always got to pay for valet, or I always got to pick you up. You know, you want to make sure that there's a mutual benefit. But we have to have people that once we get in the organization, that we're okay with getting out there in the ocean. We're out there not seeing the shoreline anymore. Because we have faith and commitment on our job, and we're committed and locked in and focused on the task that we have at hand, and we are trained. When you go through the Riviera Beach indoctrination process, 1 year in Riviera Beach is equivalent to 3 years at West Palm Beach. Police officers, don't try to bargain that, okay? But it is. It absolutely is. And what we're trying to do here in Reimagine Riviera Beach is we want to make sure that you are given the tools to be successful and continue to move the needle forward. Because I want, when there's conferences all across the nation, that they say, hey, if you want somebody to do it right, and you want somebody to lock in and do it, and you want somebody that's not going to complain about the work, you got to go to Riviera Beach. Do you know the only place that you can find the word success before work is in the dictionary? You got to put in that work. You got to put in that work. You got to lock in. It's important. Like I said earlier, we don't want to have a situation where you're okay with being a mediocre employee. We want you to be an exceptional employee, and that's why we value the relationships. So a lot of us see this on a lot of different fronts is we find a situation or a circumstance that we find fault with, right? And Henry Ford says, don't find fault, find the remedy, find the solution. Find the solution. You as the employees, you're closest to the problem. Jonathan can't fix the problem. You can fix the problem. And you should work in an environment and for supervisors that value your opinion enough to hear how to fix the problem. The managers and supervisors of the agency have all been in this room, right? And so they've heard, don't give me the excuse that we can't resolve it because I just showed you the word impossible. But also don't give me the excuse that you haven't asked the employees that have been out there in the field complaining about the problem that have the solution. I heard yesterday, and I think it's a great story because it's germane to the topic, that Harley Davidson some time ago had an issue with their motorcycles. They had issues with their motorcycles. And so what did they do? They probably spent a bunch of money having people, engineers look at it from all different perspectives. But when they turned it over to the employees, they found the solution and the remedy. We have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and giving people the opportunity to lead. And that's what the intent behind this conference is to provide you the opportunities to be part of this team so we can move the things forward that are so important to the success of our community. But you have to feel empowered and emboldened to find the remedies. You know what the problems are. Each and every department knows what the problems are in your department. And if you're not having a conversation on how to resolve those problems, then we got an issue. Because remember what I said earlier, you choose to be here. You choose to be here. And as a supervisor and a manager, I can tell you one of the things I tell department heads, people don't leave jobs, they leave people. So we got to make sure we got great and exceptional supervisors and great and exceptional employees so we can have a great and exceptional work environment. So how many hours in the day? Yell it out. It's not a trick question. 24, right? 25, right? Depends. Right? Not enough. We have 24 hours in a day. But do you know what's more impactful than that? You have the same amount of hours as some of the greatest individuals that have ever walked on the earth. Despite what the challenges may have been in your life or the circumstances, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Oprah Winfrey, Lil Wayne, a.k.a. Tucci. The kids told me to put Pusha P, but I was like, guys, I think that's too much, man. I don't want them to get in the playlist now. But you have all those hours in a day where you can do something great and phenomenal. Don't count the days, make the days count. Make the days count. They were given the same amount of hours in a day than you. What we do with those hours and how we have it manifest in what we do as individuals and how impactful we are is solely on us. 24 hours. So let's make sure that those 24 hours, that 10, 15 years from now, there's a slideshow with your name up there. I want a slideshow with our city up there that say in a 24-hour period, you know that Riviera Beach team from 2022 accomplished all these things. I think we have the team. We just need to go ahead and execute. We need to run up the scoreboard. We want to make sure that people know what we do for our community, how we do it for our community, and how well we do it for our community. I'm telling you that a lot of people are behind us. But we got to make sure in that 24-hour period that it counts and that it means something. This is a profound quote. When writing the story of your life, don't let somebody else hold the pen. You have an opportunity to create your own destiny. You can write your own story. But don't give it away for somebody else to do it for you, because they're not going to know it like you know it. But if you're married, you definitely have to have some chapters that are co-authored. I found that out the hard way. But you certainly have to make sure that you don't give away that pen, that you take the time to be intentional about your steps. Because when you are locked in to say, hey, I want to leave a lasting impression or I want to do something phenomenal, you need to be all in. You need to be all in. One of the greatest leaders of men is Eddie Robinson, Grambling University, right? At his funeral, 2,500 people showed up at his funeral, right? And they asked some of the old players, well, why did you all come back for the funeral? And what was kind of the most profound thing that Coach said about or talked about? They said team. One of the things he said, you can't coach them if you don't love them. Think about that, supervisors. You can't coach them if you don't love them. If we don't love our employees as professionals, as colleagues, as friends, how are we going to be able to lead them? And if you love them out loud. Tell your employees that you care about them, that you appreciate them, that you value them. Everybody likes to hear that. Everybody, it may make some folks feel awkward, but everybody loves affection. Think about that. How important it is to love on your employees. But again, going back to this quote, make sure that you don't pass the buck on someone else to tell or write your story, that you're locked in and that you're engaged. Life is like a coin. You can spend it on anything you want, but you only spend it once. Think about that. I told you, you chose to be here. You have made the decision to get up with the one commodity that you have, your time, that I can never pay you back for. You can never go back. I'm 26 years old right now. I can never go back to being any younger, right? So, yeah, it's the gray, it's the job, guys, it's the job. But, the time, right? The time, the valuable time that we choose to be here and spend time with each other. The people that you're sitting at the table with, you chose to sit there and you chose to spend your valuable time with them. So make that time count, because you will never get the opportunity to go back and relive those moments. Think about that. And one of the things I can tell you that I do with the kids at the house, right, when I shared this quote with them some time ago, I gave them a quarter. And I said, give the quarter to whoever you think is going to bring the most to your life, right? And the youngest one gave me the quarter. And I'm like, don't give me the quarter because you've Googled and you know what I make and you think I'm going to give you something for the quarter. I said, give the quarter to who's going to invest the most in your life. And so he gave me the quarter and I gave him a dime. And I said, see, I contributed to your life because now you have 35 cents more than that 25 cents. And I said, okay, now take that 35 cents and give it to somebody that you think is going to contribute even more. And he thought, okay, I'm going to give it to Mom, right? And Mom says, okay, I'm going to give you another dime. And so now you got 45 cents. And then he's like, okay, I'm like, give it to somebody else. And he's like, I don't want to give it. He calls his brother Bubba. I'm not going to give it to Bubba because he's going to try to take my money. But I said, you know that. We know people in our lives and circumstances where there's people that are going to take that valuable coin or that valuable time. We want to make sure that as an employee here, that we're putting people around you that add value to the time that you've invested with us, because it's the only commodity we cannot give you back. If someone is not adding to that coin, we need to have other conversations. We need to make sure that people that are locked in as part of the crew don't become the cargo. So make sure that people are adding value. And if you know the same way an 11-year-old at my house knows who not to give the coins to, you know there's situations and circumstances if somebody's not performing and you're a manager and you know it, we need to address it. Nothing will hurt a great employee more than watching how long you'll tolerate a bad one. That's a fact. So there's difficult conversations and discussions that have to happen, but you know what? We have to value the time that our great employees are putting into the agency. If you want to be a lion, you must train with lions. If you want to be a lion, you must train with lions. That goes back to the iron sharpens iron and man sharpens man. Align yourself with people on the same goal and the same vision that you have. I've got a quote at home that says, be careful of the storm. And then on the bottom of the quote, it says, I am the storm. You want to make sure that people are aligned with you, that they want to see the same things happen for our community, for you personally. You don't want a situation where a lion and a gazelle don't mix. It does not. You want to make sure that you associate yourself with people that have the same motives and the same intentions, because that's how you're going to be able to accomplish some remarkable things. And that's the kind of people that we need to make sure that we bring in to our agency. What is a group of lions called, right? Trick question, lions, lioness, what's This is a trick question. Pride, right? And what about wolves? Right. That's why they travel together. They have the same vision. They have the same perspective. They have the same goals. They all bring something to the group. If animals can figure it out and understand that we as human beings, mentally superior, conceivably, we should be able to figure out very easily how important it is to make sure that we have people that are aligned with us. Never be ashamed of a scar, because a scar just says you're stronger than whatever tried to hurt you. Never be ashamed of it. Some of us have scars that we may not talk about, that nobody may know, that we're ashamed of. But it should be okay to talk about them. It should be okay to be prideful of what you learned as a result of it. Everybody that's been in this room that's got stitches can go to that stitch and say, hey, this is where, or this is when this happened. But it shouldn't be a situation where you're embarrassed by it. I can tell you one of the things that people perceive as a scar was what happened to me in 2017. In this very room, I can tell you that that situation was the most liberating thing that happened to me. Because before then, I was the employee that if you go back and you look at my personnel file in any other government agency, I have stellar performance evaluations. I was that employee that said, what time you need me to be here? 8, I'll be here at 7:45, I'll take lunch at 11, and I'll stay as long as you need me to stay. Doesn't matter. Overtime, no overtime. I was that employee. If I got a 4 on my evaluation, my weekend was ruined. But when 2017 happened to me, I realized that city management is what I do. It's not who I am. I believe that I'm so much cooler than that. I've got so many other things in my life that are so much more important. I had an opportunity to spend more time with my mother, and I figured out why I moved out when I was 18. I was able to confirm that, right? I was able to figure out that, you know what? What is important to me? What is valuable to me? I spent time with family that before I didn't have a reason not to spend time with them. Now I have a quantifiable reason why I don't spend time with them. Because I spent so much time with them during that time. I got to find out some things that I never had the opportunity to find out. When's the last time either any one of you have sat down with your family members and say, you know what? What was high school like for you? Or what was, the relationships that you had? How was that for you? I found out that my mom named me after her first true love and never told my dad. And then she felt bad and named my sister basically after my dad. My sister's name is Viviana. My dad's name is Vivian. But that was because of what happened, that scar. I was able to find things and connect with people that I was so focused on. Got to go to school, got to go to work, got to keep doing this, got to check the box and say, I said I wanted to be a city manager when I was this age. I was so focused on that, I lost track of the things that really mattered. That scar was able to show me what really mattered. So don't be ashamed of it. Talk about it. Be okay to talk about it. We all know when our colleagues have bad days. We all know when people in our inner circle are having bad days. Have we ever decided to say sometimes those bad days, hey, Jonathan, are you okay? You want to talk about it, or you want to go grab something to eat, and sometimes you don't even need to talk about it. Sometimes you just need to be there for them. Sometimes they just need to hear that, hey, things are going to get better. But instead, sometimes we just walk in, biometric reader, make sure we scan in, and keep it moving. Sometimes we need to pick our heads up and observe what's going on and make sure that we show some care and compassion for those that we work alongside of. We spend more time at work than we do with our families. We spend more time at work. So if we're not caring and compassion and creating that loving environment, you chose to be here, but it doesn't have to be miserable when you're there. You should know what motivates persons to come to work, what they're dealing with, what's going on. I'm not saying be all up in their business, but I'm saying you got to know, like, hey, my supervisor has 2 kids, they play sports. Let me ask him, hey, how's Johnny doing? I know he was getting ready for the next season. Is he okay? Sometimes that conversation, somebody's dog is around here, but sometimes that conversation is so important, and that will start making the relationships better in the environment that you work in. It's taking the opportunity to genuinely get to know people that you work alongside of. I make it a point to find out things that motivate or encourage the people that I work with all the time. Because if you find out what they value and what they trust, you can find out what they motivates you. People are not staying up working on agenda items or putting out the agenda packet or helping me put together things that go before the board because I say they have to. No, they believe in what we're trying to accomplish, and they believe that we're doing things that are in the best interest of the community because we've established relationships. That's the most important aspect of what we do, is the relationship part. But don't be ashamed of a scar. Talk about it, especially in light of what we've just gone through. The pandemic has shown us that there's a lot of us that still have scars and a lot of challenges that we're working through. But please don't hesitate to reach out if you need help, whether it's me or anyone else or your colleagues. We're here for you. We are here for you, and we'll make sure that we're here for you. Because this pandemic has been surreal. When did you think you can ever go to the bank with a mask on and they'll give you money if you ask for it? Right? You can look at a photo and you'll be able to go back your photos and be like, oh, it's 2020, 2021, and I had the mask on. I had the mask around my chin. That was 2022, getting ready to be 2023. You know exactly what happened as a result of that time in our lives. And there's things that we took for granted that we realize are important. But my mentor told me, Jonathan, never waste a good crisis. What we went through over those years was a crisis. But I hope as a result of that, you're spending more time with your family, your friends, doing things that were not available to us during that pandemic. Because that's a significant scar. And those are times that the world as we live in today changed as a result of those scars. This is a quote that I think is very important. The Dalai Lama says, pride and purpose in life should be able to help people. But if you can't help them, for goodness sakes, please don't hurt them. Please don't hurt them. We have sometimes been very demanding, very challenging. There's been venom. Why? Why do we carry such animosity towards one another? Why are we so upset and frustrated? You know what the thing that I don't understand about those emotions? If I'm mad and upset at somebody, that's like me drinking the poison hoping that they die. That really doesn't make any sense. If you don't have a good relationship with somebody and you have an issue with them, talk to them. You may not agree with them. I'm not asking you to be pen pals with them, but don't hurt them. There's situations and circumstances where I know people intentionally withhold things, don't share things, change things, don't give you things for some ulterior motives. Why? What's the purpose? Because there's something in this world called karma, right? And we've all had that. You throw that boomerang out there, and when you turn around and you ain't paying attention, that thing's going to hit you in the back of the head. So why are we trying to tear one another down when we should be looking to build one another up? It doesn't make sense for us to hurt one another. It doesn't benefit anyone by looking to hurt someone. Because you have to think about it What happens when your kids or your family members are in the workforce and whatever you may be doing or whatever may be getting done that you're involved in, you don't want that same situation or circumstance to manifest itself in other situations for the people you love the most. So we gotta be better. We can't take it out on one another. We gotta have conversations. We gotta be okay with being uncomfortable. But we don't need to hurt anybody in the process. We don't. It's not worth it. Everybody here wants a good night's sleep. You don't want to have to be playing chess or checkers in your mind mentally to say, you know what, I'm going to get up and I'm going to move Jonathan's computer on the entirely different side of his desk because, that's what I wanted to do because I wanted to get him back. It's not worth it. But there is certain situations, right, for a good laugh, you could get away with some innocent fun. But that's when you create an environment that allows for that. I had a friend of mine, and I'll give you a story that him and I were going back and forth. And he, one day, decided to say, we lived in an apartment. He moved all my furniture in college, all my furniture in my bedroom to the living room, and all living room furniture to the bedroom. So I came in from work at 7 in the morning, I was exhausted because I worked the whole night shift. I had to sleep in the living room. People came over. I'm in the living room, sleeping, looking like an idiot. So what I did is, he went on vacation with his girlfriend. He said, hey, Jonathan, you can have the car. I said, all right, cool. I took his car. I put it on Alafaya Drive in Orlando. I put his car up for sale for $500, and I put his cell phone number on there and said, struggling college student, this car must go. It was a beautiful car, too. He had to shut his phone down for the weekend because he was getting so many calls, and I was literally watching people putting their eyes on the glass to look at what was going on in the vehicle. But that was innocent fun. We took a bad situation, we created a friendship, we created a bond, and we're still friends today. But don't have a situation where you have the animosity, the vitriol in the workplace or in your lives. Have people that bring those additional coins to it. But we don't have to be negative. We should be on social media instead of tearing down our community. We should be lifting our community up. We should be talking about all the great things that are happening. You don't see Boca doing that. You don't see West Palm doing that. You don't see the town of Palm Beach doing that. We need to lift up our community, some of the great things that we're doing. And if we got internal disputes as family members, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Give somebody the benefit of the doubt, and let's work through those issues. You know what? I asked the manager at Nordstrom, I asked him a question. What do you do when you have two employees that don't like each other? And this was in a customer service module. You know what they said? We don't have that problem. I'm like, yeah, right. She's like, no, we don't have that problem. You know why? Because if two employees cannot resolve their issue, they cannot resolve my customer's issue, so they don't work here. That's a fact. That is from the manager, the HR manager at Nordstrom said they don't have that issue. So for those people that may have issues internally, sit down and have a conversation. At least try. Need somebody to be there to work through those issues? I'll bring whoever else in for you guys to sit down and work through those issues. And get it off your chest. Don't carry that burden. If you saw it, it came by real quick, and I wanted to make sure that it went quick. Sometimes we get caught in I, me, and mine. We have to know that we is greater than. We as a team, we as an agency, we as a city are greater than individual parts. We can't work in silos anymore. The fire department needs the police department. The police department needs the fire department. Police department needs HR. HR needs the police department. Utility district needs administration. Administration needs everybody. We all work together. We all need one another. We can't work in silos. We can't purposely and intentionally not work with one another. When you get your paycheck direct deposit, I know it doesn't say Jonathan Evans, city administration, city manager, city of Riviera Beach. It says city of Riviera Beach. We're a team. We all play different roles on the team, but we are a team. There's no doubt about it. We just have to be about it. We have to work together. We have to work through our differences. We have to make sure that the sole focus is to do what's right for our residents and to make sure that we are prepared and equipped to do it together. When somebody asks me, sir, so where do you work? I work for the city of Riviera Beach. What do you do? I work for the city of Riviera Beach. What department? City administration. You have to ask me, no lie, 3 to 4 questions to drill down what I do for the city of Riviera Beach. Or you Google, I'll be sure, and then there may be a chance that you can find it out quicker. Right? But that's because I see us as a team. I see us as a team. And I hope you do that as well. The importance of family, right? When I talk about what gets you up in the morning, what excites you about coming to work, is the people that I know, that I care about the most, that love me the most. These photos is my family, my wife's family. This is important to me, and this is an intimate part with me. And I don't share a lot of things about me when it comes to my family because that's something that's private. But I value our relationship and our friendship and our commitment to one another as family members to share my family with you all. And so when I say what gets me up in the morning, it's the opportunity to go home to those folks. It's the opportunity to share some of the great things that we're doing. Because we know when we go home with the challenges and the situations that we're dealing with at work, those are the first people that hear it. I think my wife is a far better city manager than I, because she tells me all the right things I should be doing. Right? But they hear that stuff, they live that stuff, they see that stuff. And so we want to make sure as an employer we create an environment that is similar to your family, but also we want to be one that's inclusive of your family. So over the next couple of years, we're going to be doing things that bring your family into the fold, that we can celebrate victories and accomplishments with your family, that your kids are excited about the opportunity to be part of this agency and family. I want this to be a family business. I want a situation where your kids and your loved ones see the value in being part of the team and they want to come work for us. Because guess what? When they see mom and dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa coming to work for the city, they know that if it was important to them, it should be important to me. And so we have to make sure that we create an environment that's inclusive of our family, but we have to understand with that valuable time that we have, that coin, that we choose to invest it here versus with them, that it's meaningful and impactful. That it's meaningful and impactful. It's important. Our families are important. Our loved ones are important. But you also have to make sure as an employee that you have the balance. All of you, I know it for a fact, have taken a work assignment, have taken a task, have taken a shift that takes away from time with your families. All of you. And for that, I can never repay you of your time, but I can say thank you. But more importantly, I want to make sure that the time you have with us, that it is valuable and we're giving back to you more than what you would ever imagine. And that we as an employer are making sure that they know that you're in good hands and that you're taken care of. And so, if they're important in your life and your faith are important in life, those are the things that are 1 and 2. Your job can fall anything after that. But please don't sacrifice your family and your faith for a paycheck. It will never work out in your benefit because when kids go off you'll never get those opportunities to go to ballet, jazz, tap, softball, baseball, football. You'll never get those moments again. So please make sure that you have a work-life balance. and you don't let this situation consume you, because those are the folks that really, really matter to your mental health and to the health of this agency. And in closing, I want to say that I cannot thank you all enough for choosing to be part of this agency. I can't thank you enough for being committed to this agency. I can't thank you enough for being committed to helping us accomplish the things that we've been able to accomplish in 3 years. But I have a basketball in my office that was signed by department directors in another agency where I was a manager, and it says teamwork makes the dream work. And that's absolutely the case here. But you know what? We have an exceptional team, and we have the dream team. And I really do believe that the best days for us as an agency are ahead. And I just ask that we work together, that we make sure that we're committed to one another, and that we stay focused on the task. Reimagine doesn't happen. Reimagine is an imagination if the employees are not locked in and following the dream. And so planning without implementation is hallucination. We're not going through these exercises today, guys, to come back next year and say, hey, what did we accomplish? Nothing? No. We're coming here to say, hey, let's get fired up about these sessions. Let's get involved in these sessions. Let's make sure that we're prepared and equipped to take this agency to new heights and exceed the expectations. But let's make sure, back to the first slide, it's inclusive of you and we do it together. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. So at this time of the presentation, I'm going to turn the presentation over to the consultant that's helping to facilitate the rebranding for the city of Riviera Beach. So please make sure that you are, if you have to go to the bathroom, please hold it a little bit longer. No, I'm just, if you have to go to the bathroom, that's understandable, but we're going to jump right into his brief presentation. It's going to be about 10, 12 minutes, and then you'll go into your first breakout sessions that are on the calendar. And also, please make sure that you get your employee survival kit. If you hadn't had the opportunity to read it, I'll read it very quickly. Employee survival kit, Tootsie Roll to help you roll with the punches, peppermint patty to keep your cool, gum to help you get through sticky situations, Snickers to help you keep a sense of humor, Starburst for the burst of energy you will need, and Lifesavers to remind you of the many times that you've been one. So this is yours. There are probably some extra ones if you need that extra candy burst, but at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the presenters from North Star here to talk about community rebranding.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm Will Ketchum with North Star Place Branding and Marketing. Thank you, Mr. Evans. And I just want you to know we work around the country with smaller cities like Riviera Beach, and we don't see this often, the level of intentional commitment to the future like we see here, and the investment in direction and also investment in staff, so you're lucky. We've had a great week. My team and I have been here all week touring your community, getting to know every corner of it. Most of all, listening and learning. We don't have any answers this week. We're here to get to know Riviera Beach, its people, its issues. And we see beauty, we see hard work, we see heart and soul, we see challenges. But most of all, we see opportunities. And we're excited to bring the positive story of Riviera Beach to the surface. The quote said, you gotta hold the pen. You know, some believe that perhaps there's a narrative about Riviera Beach out there that's not true. So we've gotta own our own narrative and write our own narrative. And that's what this process is about, telling the good truth about Riviera Beach in authentic terms. So let me give you a quick overview and we'll get you on to your next session. You know, at the end of the day, we help communities reach their preferred future. Getting to your preferred future starts with leadership and vision. You've got that in Mr. Evans and Mayor Felder. That's also your leadership each and every day as you take this community forward. But a brand can play a small role in helping a community get the things it needs for a better future. Think about investment, jobs, those have to be sold, right? You have to go out and ask for jobs and investment to come to this community, for more restaurants and more retail, for more high-wage jobs for this community, for more visitors, and for residents, folks who want to own a home here and build a future. So the brand is a suit of clothing, a handshake that says, this is what we're about, come check us out. And so that's why a brand can be important to a community. You see a bunch of logos there, because we wanted you to understand where we've worked around the country, but this, folks, is not about a logo and a slogan. We're going to have that, but that doesn't solve much. What solves in community and place branding is an idea that people can get behind and believe in, okay? And so that's what we want to tell the story of Riviera Beach with. You know, they say your brand is what they say about you when you're not around. Think about that. So what are they saying about Riviera Beach? What are your own residents saying about Riviera Beach? Unfortunately, that is its brand right now, whatever's being said on the street, right? So branding is what you do about that. You hold the pen and you write that narrative the way it should be, and then you pound it home, and people start believing that narrative, and that becomes your brand. But at the same time, branding has a real branding problem, and I'm in the business, we got a problem of our own. People think we're all about logos and slogans. If you think about the brands that you connect with or respect or follow, it's not about the logo, it's about the experience and the association you have with those brands. And think about the power of these brands. A great brand means never having to justify your prices, or even write your name, or explain yourself, right? Everyone understands Google intuitively. A great brand signals who's the best. It can give you a public face, a competitive edge, Amazon everywhere, and a legacy that endures. Think about Disney. But when you think about Disney, you're not thinking, that's a pretty blue logo, and I like that scripty font, that typeface, how that O circles. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about the experiences you've had, maybe at the parks, or maybe as you and the kids watch one of the movies that Disney puts out. It's that experience. So places work the same way with their branding. We hold associations with places, and that's really what we're trying to do here, is form the best associations for Riviera Beach. Think about it. Would you rather have a bachelor party in Las Vegas or Salt Lake City? Would you rather take a beach vacation in Maui or the Jersey Shore? Would you rather sample wine in Sonoma, California, or Detroit, Michigan? So those tell you that places have brands in your mind, and it doesn't matter what their logo is. So let's give you a quick example of what does this look like. And I'm going to share another community, few communities. Here's Indio, California. Small place. Anyone heard of the Coachella Valley Music Festival or Stagecoach? Music lovers? Well, it's the biggest music festival in this country, but no one knows where it is. So Indio said, we need the world to understand where we are and what we're about. And so that's their branding. In Gallatin, Tennessee, they were getting lost in the shadow of Nashville, which is booming. And they said, we want to tell our own story. And we saw in that community hardworking people and faith-based people. Their branding was True Grit, Amazing Grace. And then in Columbus, Indiana, a small town, 40 miles south of Indianapolis, lost in the crowd as well, had some amazing architecture and some neat history that they built some tours around. And so we're really about unexpected and unforgettable, and that became their story. So you can see a little bit how your unique story can come to the surface. Now, everyone has their own personal DNA, right? Each of you have DNA that makes only one of you in the world, only one will ever be. So we're going to create a DNA statement for Riviera Beach that says this is what our unique place in the world is. And I'm going to show you an example of that. We're going to move from that DNA, which is sort of a blueprint for our branding exercise, well before we get into any creative, and then we're going to build a brand story. So let's use Santee, California as an example. This is a small city to the east of San Diego, California. Much like you are a smaller city beside larger metros like West Palm Beach and some of the other bigger cities, in South Florida. Here's Santee. So you can see that it hugs the eastern side of the San Diego metro. And when you live in San Diego, it's all about the water and all the glamour down on the coast. Well, Santee says, hey, wait a second. We've got incredible parks. We've got incredible outdoor lifestyle. We've got more affordable housing, and we've got less traffic, and we've got a better promise to people that want to build a future. And they said, we need to tell that story. And so we helped them form their DNA statement. For those wanting a close-knit community and wide-open opportunity, Santee, hugged by natural beauty along Santee Lakes and Mission Trails Regional Park, similar to the natural assets you have here, gives Southern California a new, strong point of connection, affording families the freedom to live their aspirations. So we had to be authentic, but we also want to be a little aspirational in this brand because we want people to believe in something better for the future. So that's that DNA statement. We're going to work toward that in the next few months before we get into creative development. But here's how it turned out for Santee. Santee, do more, due east. Do more with your life east of San Diego. Don't just coast, thrive. That's an advertisement trying to attract a small business owner to come locate in Santee rather than in San Diego. And you can see here how the branding unfolded. Parks and Rec, the municipal website, entry signage, which is important for you. Even on a commuter train that went into San Diego, Parks and Rec guide you see there. So just wanted to give you that backdrop on what are we up to, what's all this branding about, and where we're going. It's a several-month process. Hope you'll visit this website to learn more about it. It's live now. Also, this is important, we're going to be publishing a community survey that we want you to take, and we want all your friends and family and anyone you can get in this community to take. And if you go to the site now, you can sign up to be alerted when that community survey comes out. And then the city will also be helping us promote it when it comes out, and probably in the next month or so. And that's really vital that we hear from everyone. This process has to be inclusive, or we won't have the endorsement and the belief, right? We've got to have people contribute their thinking to this process. We don't have the answer. We're just going to help you bring it to the surface. So we need your help and engagement on it. I'm going to switch gears and wrap up on one aspect of our work is to look at the mission, vision, and values of this city as an organization and make sure it's the best it can be. Now look, Mr. Evans said, you guys don't need mission and vision on the walls every day as a reminder. You go do what you do, you know what you're doing, and you're good at it. However, it's important to have these guideposts every once in a while for a brand new employee. They need to know where are we going and what do we stand for. So these mission, vision, and value statements are very important. We're just going to take a look at them to make sure they align with where the brand ends up. Just some sort of how do you tell these terms apart? Mission is about our purpose and the actions that lead us there. Why do we go to work every day, and how do we do our jobs? Our vision is what happens if we succeed at that, right? So that's what we're going to become if we answer that mission. And then our values are the principles that guide us along the way. So as you know, your mission, we are committed to creating an exceptional city by providing excellent customer service, progressive leadership, and accountable stewardship. And your vision is to be the best waterfront city in which to live, work, and play. Here are your best practices and values. And it's a great list. But I do want your feedback on these. There's 2 questions in an online survey. I'm going to give you a QR code in a moment. Just want your quick feedback now or in the office later. Which actions should our mission statement include to be more reflective of how we work? So there's a few options for you, or you could say, none, I think it captures it. We also want you to look at those values and be an honest judge of how well are we living into those each and every day. So you can say low, meaning we rarely exhibit that, medium, we usually do, or high, we always deliver on that key value. We just want to do a temperature check with you on how well you're living into those values. So that'll be helpful, and we hope you will please scan this. Take a minute to do that right now, if you would. And then we'll also be sending this, but this is your easiest and most convenient way to get it. And again, 2 questions should take you, I'd say, under 1 minute. So I hope you can make time. I know we're tight on time. That's all I had, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about the branding process. Again, it's going to be several months, and we'll be back, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you and working with you.
All right, at this time, you have 1 minute before your breakout sessions occur. What they're going to do is they're going to split the room. General employees over here. Supervisors will be in this room, so you can run to the bathroom. But again, we're going to be going in to these breakout sessions. Executive management, you're in the conference room across. So this is your break, and the sessions will probably start in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you, everybody.